All right, welcome back. Our next guest is the candidate for city council in the 2021 election, and he joins us today to speak about why he is running for city council and what he intends to do in our communities if elected. Please welcome to the show, Oswald Feliz. How are you? Welcome.
Doing very well. Thank you so much, Bob, for having me on your show, and thank you to your audience as well for having me today and watching.
Give us a little background. You're a professor at Ostos Community College, right? You're a tenant lawyer. Give us a little background.
That is correct. So I'm Oswald Feliz. I am a candidate for City Council in the Bronx, District 15. I have spent my entire life working to improve the lives of Bronx residents. I'm a tenant lawyer. I have defended tenants in Bronx Housing Court who are at risk of eviction, preventing homelessness, which is a problem in our city. And I have also represented them in cases where they sue the landlords for harassment and other unlawful landlord conduct.
What inspired you to run for city council?
Yeah, so I come from very humble beginnings. My parents, my mom was and still is a home attendant. My father was a taxi driver. Now he's unable to work. He's disabled and unable to work. And my family worked almost every single day of their lives, but they struggled, not because they weren't willing to work hard, but because of the obstacles that low-income people in the Bronx face, including lack of good jobs, lack of unionized jobs, and also my own struggles as well. The public education system, which has continues to fail a lot of students due to reasons beyond the students' control. Many schools are underfunded, many schools are racially segregated, they don't have the tools to prepare our students to succeed. So I said, we have a lot of issues. I love the Bronx. I want to improve the borough that raised me, the borough that gave me so much. So I'm going to run for city council to work on these issues and create a Bronx where families could thrive.
Now we're living during a pandemic, so we have more issues to deal with. Can you discuss some of the challenges that your community is facing at this time?
So the Bronx has many problems, and the coronavirus pandemic only made the problems worse. We have an issue regarding financial stability. Many jobs in the Bronx are non-union jobs, which means that workers have to go to work. And if they take not a day off, but if they take an hour off, they would be at risk of job termination. So that is a problem, and that partially explains why the pandemic hit the Bronx the hardest, because we are home to essential workers, people that have to go to work, and people that have to be there in person. Security guards, maintenance people, and etc. People that have to be there rather than working remotely. We also have an issue regarding, very related to financial stability, a housing problem. People are without jobs, unable to pay rent, and the state passed the moratorium. However, the problem is, how are they going to be able to pay rent that has accumulated during a long period where they were without a job, and etc.
What are your primary goals and issues that you're looking to tackle as a potential city councilman? Because there's a lot of people are running. Why should we choose you?
Yes, so I am a son of the Bronx, and I am running because I want to create a Bronx where families could thrive, where people have access to good schools, and etc. I actually spoke to a parent last night, actually. That parent told me that she has to travel 1 hour every single day to send her so that her daughter could go to good school, because the local schools don't have resources to properly prepare her daughter. So if I'm elected, I have many policy proposals. I'll briefly describe the top three. My first proposal involves desegregating our public school system. Here in New York City is the most racially diverse and economically diverse city in the country, but we also have the most racially segregated public school system in the country. And this is nothing new. It's actually been like that for a very long time. We have to desegregate our public school system, and that all starts by changing, desegregated at every single level. So for example, at the high school level or at the Ivy League high school, public school level, only 10 African Americans made it to our top public school out of about 100 seats. Due to many obstacles, one obstacle is the specialized high school admission test. That is the only factor that these specialized high schools take into consideration when admitting students. If I'm elected, I will work so that these schools could consider that test, but also consider other factors, including GPA, which clearly shows how well you could possibly do academically. GPA, teacher recommendations, and many other factors, including racial and social economic factor. And another thing to
go ahead. That's one. And you said there's three that you would like to touch.
Yes, the second one is also related to education. If I'm elected, education is going to be a big priority for me. I actually went to local public schools, and I know how much they lack resources to help students succeed. So my second proposal is relates to funding our education system. We live in a very wealthy city, maybe the wealthiest on the planet. And we also have the most inequitable public school funding system in the country. We actually rank second to last in the whole nation, which means basically we spend the same per student in our city, regardless of whether you are doing extremely well or whether you are struggling with a new language or maybe other obstacles. So if I'm elected, I will work so that schools that serve struggling students receive at least 30% additional funding so that we can have smaller classrooms in those schools, and the students that are struggling, they could receive more attention.
Yeah, the third one can be good jobs and clean air, I guess. Go ahead.
Exactly, you guys. So in the Bronx, we actually have the highest asthma rates, not only in the city, but also in the nation. People in the Bronx are hospitalized due to asthma at rates 21 times higher than other areas in the city. So this is not a citywide problem, this is a Bronx problem, mostly due to the high levels of air pollution in our city. And most of that is due to the fact that we have roadways like the Cross Bronx Expressway, which is the most congested roadway in the nation. So if I'm elected, I will work to reduce asthma by cleaning up our air, and I'll clean up our air by putting a deck over the Cross Bronx Expressway, a deck of green space to help absorb the pollution. And basically the Cross Bronx will be turned into a tunnel where the Cross Bronx Expressway is on the bottom. We'll install ventilators inside that tunnel to make sure that the air is being cleaned, because eventually the air is going to be released into outside. So clean the air before it's released into our communities. And also people will have a beautiful park that will help beautify their neighborhood, and a park where they could exercise, jog, relax, and enjoy time with their family.
Now, I always thought of a huge machine that will just suck in air and clean the air. Has a huge filter in it that you have to change maybe once a month, and just pulls stuff in and clean air comes out. I was trying to figure how to do that somewhere. I don't know, just my dream. But yeah, those some good issues that you're talking about, and we wish you a whole lot of luck. Is there a website that people can go to find out more about you and what you're teaching also in the school at Oswald Community College?
The website would be Feliz for NYC.com. Feliz, like happy, not with an X at the end.
There you go. Lifelong Bronx resident, tenant lawyer, adjunct professor at Oswald Community College, Oswald Feliz, candidate for New York City Council. Thank you, and good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bob, for having me on your show. It's an honor and privilege to join you, your staff, and also your audience. Again, I'm running because a better Bronx is possible, one where families could thrive, one where families have access to good schools, good jobs, and also something as basic as clean air.
Well, we'll take a break right here. Coming up next, my man Bobby C has the latest in the world of sports.